Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton. For my 13th episode, I interviewed Chris DeRose. He is an on-air producer, writer, and reporter for You and Me, which is a morning show on WCIU The U, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Just a reminder, this podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. You can go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook of your choice. This week, I'd like to recommend BJ Novak's One More Time, which is a series of short stories he wrote, which are great because they're voiced by all different people. You've got Lena Dunham in there, you've got Mindy Kaling, you've got Rainn Wilson, so it's a really great audiobook. Again, go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to take advantage of the free month. Chris and I got into it talking about ghosts, we talked about Disney, and then we got really personal talking about relationships. He shared the romantic situation he had, and I shared one of my favorite romantic moments, so we get kind of personal in bed. And let's just get started with the show.
Sarah.
Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and this is my guest, Chris DeRose.
Hi.
Chris is a host on WCIU's You and Me in the Morning.
Yeah. Well, now we shortened it to just You and Me, but...
You and Me. Oh, yeah. Okay. Just You and Me.
Yeah. Rebranding.
How'd you sleep last night, Chris?
Last night, I didn't sleep very well. I had a late night workout with, I do this dance class on Thursday nights. So I had the dance class, and then my buddy in the dance class wanted to go to dinner afterward, which was unexpected. I thought I was just going to go home. But yeah, we ended up going to dinner, and then it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I didn't have a really early morning, but I was like, oh, I got to get up at least 5 a.m. Right. So by the time I get home, I was in bed, and then I made the terrible decision of sleeping with my iPad in my bed. So, like, Netflix is right there, and it totally... I didn't fall asleep till, like, 1 o'clock.
What did you binge on?
Do you watch Peaky Blinders?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, it's this Netflix show where it's set in like Birmingham, England, in the right after World War One, and it's all about these gangsters in Birmingham. And the new season just came out, so I was like, well, can't just watch one.
Yeah, that's with everything,
right?
That's why it's fun for certain shows. Like, I'm glad that because I got into Game of Thrones late, like probably a little over like a year and a half ago. I got into it, and no spoiler. Like, I didn't get spoiled about anything, which is awesome. But now it's so weird. I'm like, how can you be so patient to wait every week? And it's insane.
Torture. I love Game of Thrones. I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I've read every book.
You read all the books?
All the books. I've been up on like fan chatter. I subscribe to like 2 Game of Thrones podcasts.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
really into Game of Thrones.
I immerse myself in the kingdom of Westeros.
So what do you think? What do you think will happen eventually? Like at the end, like who do you think will sit on the throne?
I think here's what's going to happen, and this is just my opinion, everyone.
This isn't a spoiler.
This isn't a spoiler. This is totally my opinion. I think Daenerys is going to cross the Narrow Sea. She's going to have her Dothraki army. She's going to have her second sons. All the folks she's amassed over on the other side of the world. She's going to cross over. She's going to have her dragons. She's going to get to Westeros. But, White Walkers are going to be all over Westeros. So the only 2 ways to kill White Walkers are Valyrian steel and fire. So she got 3 dragons that will just run rampant. So I think everyone's going to have to face the White Walkers now because they're becoming such a huge thing. So like while they're trying to, what's his name? Jon and Sansa are trying to reclaim the North and stuff. It's like, oh, by the way, here's the real enemy, and it's the Walking Dead coming at them.
That's interesting.
So there's certainly going to be a lot more to it, but that I have that image in my head of that's what I think where it's kind of going.
Interesting.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I've been into that. It's a cool. I don't know. It's like so hard though, because like I sometimes can't watch it because I'm just out doing shows or mics, so it's like Sundays I can't always get to it, so it's like I am like not checking Facebook at all the next day and all that, because you don't want someone, like some people are assholes and they just like post something and you're like, fuck.
Right. I make sure I'm like Johnny on the spot. I want to watch it right away, and then
so is that staying up late? So like, because you get up super early for like for your job. Yeah.
Especially if I'm live in the morning, so I can be doing any number of things with the TV show, and since we're live, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. now, Monday through Friday, if I have to be live in the field, especially in the 6 o'clock hour, that means I'm usually up at 3. I'm at the studio at 4, getting my stuff together. By 5, I'm traveling on the road, going wherever I'm going.
Oh my gosh.
We get there, we set up, we coordinate everything, and then so we'll do our hit in the 6 o'clock hour. We'll wait around, usually do another hit in the 7 o'clock hour, and then by that point, we're heading back to the studio, and I'm doing other work or on another shoot or whatever, and then usually, sometimes I even have an evening shoot, so I'll have to go have a little bit of a day, go running or whatever, take a nap, come back.
Is it easier for you to do like a 4-hour nap or something, or is that?
It feels so good, and at the same time, at the end of the nap, I feel terrible. I wake up. The other day, inadvertently, I did a hour 45-minute nap.
Which is supposed to be good because an hour and a half nap gets you through a whole cycle of sleep.
Right.
So that's supposed to have gone through a whole sleep cycle. That's why like naps under an hour and a half like don't really do a ton. Yeah. Because you don't go through like the full cycle.
It's real. If I take a nap, I know I will not sleep that night very well, which totally throws me off. We used to have a much heavier schedule, and I used to have a much heavier live schedule. Now it's broken up a bit. So like this morning, I wasn't live. I had a piece that ran that I did, so I didn't have to
be
up that early. Yeah, I think I ended up getting up at 5:30.
That's still like super early. Like for me, for someone me, like you're like, oh, I didn't have to get up that early. I just had to get up at 5:30. Like I don't know when I've ever had to except for trying to think of when I've ever had to get up at 5:30. I think it was because I had to do a news thing as a kid or something. Yeah. I had to be on a news thing early.
5:30 is sleeping in. If I get 5:30, I'm like, woo! I just made it.
That is insane.
It's the greatest feeling in the world to get up at 5:30, and that sounds so. I know how that sounds, but compared to 3 o'clock.
But when is your day over?
If it's a normal day, normal being I do work in the morning, I do a little work in the late morning, and then usually I'll get out of there maybe 12 o'clock or noon.
Ah, okay.
And then, depending on my level of tired, I'll go take a nap, or I'll go work out, or run errands, whatever I need to do.
And you've been doing a lot of races and stuff, I see. Do you wear your Fitbit to bed usually?
Oh, I wear it. If it's not charging, it's in bed with me. And it tracks your sleep, too, which is nice.
It does. So what have you learned about your sleep through tracking your Fitbit?
I don't get enough.
How much do you get? Does it...
They say above 5 hours is considered a nice chunk of sleep. That's what Fitbit says. And for me personally,
Fitbit's an expert.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, if I get above 5 hours, I'm usually fine. 6 hour sleep is great, and honestly, I can't sleep much past 6 hours. Because my body just doesn't let. Even on the weekends, I will be up. So on Saturday, I'll wake up at 6:30, and I'll just be up, and I just start doing laundry.
You're being productive. See, for me, it's I get up at 6:30, see the clock, and I'm like, go back to sleep. And I need you need 5 hours of sleep. I need 10, just to feel normal.
I remember the days in college. I used to sleep for 10 hours sometimes, and I loved it. It was great, but
I feel like there's so much more I could be doing if I was, that's my whole thing. It's I wish I could, just be up and be more productive and be doing things. I feel it's nice to have lots of things going on. That's why I try to do a lot of different projects. So
well, and like you were saying, with me working out and stuff, I prefer to get my workouts in the morning, and that's when my body is is really at its best. So if I'm going to do a training run, I've been running a lot lately, and I try and get out running by 7-8 o'clock in the morning. So then it's not too hot, and I can usually get a good anywhere from 5 to 10 miles in, depending on how I'm feeling. So
5 to 10 miles, like running.
Well,
Man.
Sunday, I'm doing a 10K Sunday morning, and
but 10K is only like 5 miles. It's not even 5 miles,
10K
right?
is 6 miles.
6 miles, yeah.
That's my base. If occasionally I'll do 3 miles if I'm just want to get a little run in. But if I want to do more aggressive, it'll be 6. If I want to do a training run, it's 10.
Damn.
Yeah.
I tried running for a while, but I hate it. I really do. I tried. I really did. I made a good college effort. I used to go with my friend every other day. We'd jog from. I'm in Lakeview, so we jog from Roscoe and Clark all the way down to the beach. We would all the way down to the lake, and then we go down to Fullerton Beach and turn around and come back. And it was 4.2 miles, but I would run and then stop and run and then stop. But I did not like I can bike. I like to bike. Or even rollerblade. I'd rollerblade. I don't have rollerblades.
I haven't rollerbladed in so long.
I would totally rollerblade. Rollerblading is fun. You're gliding. I don't know why. I just don't like running. And I tried to like it. I did, because I know it's the best workout for your body and all this kind of stuff. But I'm no, I'd rather bike, or if I'm doing something outside, or just go on long walks.
I walk too, though. Walking is great for you. And I live up in Andersonville, so some nights I'll just...
Are you going to tell me you walked here?
No, I didn't walk here because there was a Cubs game, and I did not want to walk anywhere near Wrigley Field. But no, there was they have that what's it called, Lakeview, Lakewood, Balmoral Historic District, and it's all those beautiful bungalow homes from over 100 years ago, and they're immaculately kept. If you own one of those homes, you have to keep it in pristine condition. It's a regulation.
It's a rule. It's you can't just be the hermit that just likes cobwebs.
Nope. The community will kick you out. You can't do it.
How old are these houses? Do you think they're haunted?
Probably.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Actually, I do.
You do? Okay.
I do, yeah.
Do you have any ghost stories?
Well, yeah. So for the TV show, I met up a couple years ago with this guy. His name is Vincent Jenna, and he's a psychic medium. And he's really, really nice guy. He knew nothing about me when he met me, but he did our show, and then he was like, I got some time. I don't have to be anywhere for a while. If anybody wants to do a free reading, and he charges hundreds of dollars for reading. So he was like, if anybody wants a free reading, I'm happy to do it. He's like, I'm just bored and I don't want to, wait around in my hotel. And so I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So he knows nothing about me. Let me repeat. I go in there and he starts talking to me, and he goes, well, your grandmother's with us. My grandmother's dead. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And he starts saying things that my grandmother used to say.
Really?
Really?
What? Is it...
So
was it a specific thing, a specific nickname, or was it sweetheart, or
He says, so he's reading me, and he goes, oh, so you want to buy a motorcycle, huh? And I had days before been pricing motorcycles just on a whim. My grandmother always used to say, I will kill you if you get a motorcycle. And he goes, you know what she's saying to me right now? She's saying, she will kill you if you get a motorcycle. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, that's weird.
That's weird, man.
And then he started, what else did he say? Oh, he started telling me about, I don't know how the whole spirit world works, but he was describing that a dog we had when I was a kid is still with me. The dog's long dead, but her name was Phoebe. She was a little white terrier, and we're in the middle of talking. We're in the middle of the room, in the middle of the reading, and he's just like, "Oh, a little white terrier just ran into the room. What does that mean to you?" And I was like, "Shut up."
So did you go in skeptical though? What did you like?
I went in a little. I mean, I kind of believe in the spiritual. I do. I believe in the spiritual world, and I think there's a lot out there that's going on that we have no concept over, and so I do believe in that stuff. But at the same time, I'm like, I purposely was just like, I'm not going to be giving things away. I'm not going to be like, oh, like, are you thinking of a woman? Yes, I'm thinking of a woman.
Okay,
my grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your grandmother. I wasn't going to do that. And I don't think I did. But so we kind of struck up a friendship. He's a very nice guy. And I started producing some segments with him. So we've done a couple of ghost hunts throughout Chicago.
Ghost hunts?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Like, did you go into, like, some old, like, speakeasies or anything like that? Or
we haven't really done speakeasies. No, we did. We did, it's now closed, but the old Excalibur nightclub.
Oh, yeah. Was that used to be a speakeasy?
It wasn't a speakeasy. It was a morgue at one point.
What?
It was an armory and a makeshift city morgue during the Eastland disaster, which hundreds of people died. So he went in, he did a reading of that place, and the owner at the time, his name was Mark. Mark had a couple of experiences, and so he was relaying them to Vince, and Vince was, talking about, like, how the building is a portal, and there's all these people that are trapped, and there are these angels that have come into the building to try and get these souls to cross over, but these souls are scared. And so, like, when he goes into a place, I've seen him do it a couple of times now, and whether you believe in this stuff or not, I don't know, but he basically calls to the spirits, and he connects the spirits to those other spirits who are there to help them transition. Because we went to a cemetery, and real brief history, during the Civil War in Chicago, we had a terrible prisoner of war for Confederate soldiers. It's called Camp Douglas. Really, thousands of Confederates died in this camp, and they were buried in a mass grave down on the south side. So there is a monument in this cemetery to those soldiers. So we did this whole story on Camp Douglas with Vince, and he went down into the cemetery, and he went to this Confederate monument, and he was saying that there's all these lost souls just hanging around in the area where their bodies are, and there are a couple of soldiers that are there that went over and then came back to try and help get these souls, but none of them will cross because they're too afraid, and they're stuck, and they're just like, I don't know what to do. And so he tries to connect them. He was like, this was your commander, and he's here to help you now. Go follow him like you followed him during the war, and he will lead you over.
So you believe in, like, the whole crossover thing? Like,
I think so, yeah.
So then, like, I know that sounds odd. So then what kind of unfinished business does your dog have? Like, that's just, like, a weird... I said that, that's, like, a dumb... It's like, what kind of unfinished business would a dog have? Like, that doesn't make much sense. Like...
He said that it's not so much, like, the dog has unfinished business. He said it's... The dog spirit is linked to my spirit. And when I was a kid, both of my parents worked. Mm-hmm. And so I was either with my grandmother or I was with my babysitter.
Were you an only child? No,
I had a brother. But for whatever reason, this is what he said, and I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but he said, that dog always gravitated towards you because it in life it felt like you needed more love, like you weren't getting the attention. And I want to say my parents are amazing, my brother's amazing, everyone is, and I don't necessarily feel that was true, but he said that the dog spirit stays with me and feels it needs to give me love. Also, coincidentally, he said my grandmother will be with me until I'm married, and then she will officially...
What? That's interesting.
Because he said that...
Was she always that kind of grandmother? Like wanting you to settle down, or...
Well, not even that so much. She was just always there and being very present. I grew up in the house my mom grew up in. So this is my mom's mom. Mm-hmm. And, her and her husband, they built this house. They raised my mother, her brother, my aunt. They were raised there. My mom ended up living there with my dad and raised us there. And, my grandmother was always there. And she I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he said that she would be there with me. She would be that woman in my life until another the woman came.
Oh,
and
weird.
Basically took that position. So it was interesting, and he's always telling me, he's like, you're not open to relationships, and he's like, and you're not helping yourself. He said
so he was psychoanalyzing you.
Yeah. And he told me, he's like, oh, in like a couple months you're gonna meet the girl that you're gonna marry. And that didn't happen, or maybe it happened and I wasn't open to it. I don't know. So
do you feel like that's true? Are you not open to relationships?
I do not. I don't invest in something unless this is the way I am in life. If it doesn't seem like a good investment, if there are a lot of red flags, I'm just like, nope, not worth my time.
So you're saying a woman's an investment?
Well, it's an investment not only in a relationship, but it's an investment in my life, and like there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm also in that place where I can date, and I can just be like, yeah, we'll see where things go, and let something develop. But if somebody, I think you can tell, I'm one of those people, I can tell right away if I want to continue to see someone. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't know if you're this way, but like you meet somebody and it's like, yeah, we had chemistry. I'd like to see them again. Or
I mean, sometimes you're like, yeah, it'd be good to see that person again, but you don't make it a priority. And then it's like, oh, like if you get busy, it's like, oh, like maybe I'll see them in a couple weeks. And then it's like, that's what I feel like I keep getting into, this thing where it's like, kind of seeing someone, it's like, but am I excited about that person?
Right. And when you do find those people that you are excited about, you can tell the difference. By the way, I did want to say, not to cut you off, I was on Tinder yesterday. We got matched up on Tinder. Oh,
that's because I always swipe right to people I know, because I'm always curious. That's funny. I actually had to delete it yesterday because I ran out of space and I wanted to take a photo. I deleted it because my phone is like ancient and it only has like 16 gigs, so like I had to delete it for a second so that I could take a photo. So I think I deleted it yesterday or the day before that because I'm really bad with my phone stuff. I don't like plug it into my computer and like download the photos and stuff. I'm really bad with that.
No,
but that's funny. That's probably why I didn't see the match, because I deleted it from my phone.
I super liked you.
You super liked me. Wait, I don't even know what that means. Like,
I don't know either. You only get like 5 a day, so you gotta make them count.
5. See, the thing is, I feel like Tinder's more like a game. You're like, it's like, oh, it's like half the time you're like, oh, am I gonna see someone I know or someone,
It is a game. I used to play like Candy Crush on my phone. Now I just play Tinder. I'm like waiting for this movie to start.
Yeah. But do you think that like creates like more of a shopping cart mentality for like dating? Like, I feel like I don't know, I feel like with the dating apps, it's so easy to just, like, if there's one thing wrong with the person, you're like, oh, no, that's not going to work, versus if you meet somebody in real life, you're like, you give them more chances, or you're like, oh, but they're really good in this way. And I feel like looking back to my past relationships, if I had seen what they were on paper, like, on a dating app, I might not have even gone out with them. Like, is that weird?
I don't think that's weird. And, the interesting thing, a friend of mine pointed this out. He said that, because I was on OkCupid for a while, and he said that...
And that's an interesting algorithm they have, I think, with their questions,
Well, and to that point, the questions basically take away... If you've been one of those diligent people and you've filled out all the questions... So I'm going into your profile, and I'm like, okay, this is Sarah, and I read all this stuff about you, and we decide to go on a date. By the time we get to our first date, we both know so much about each other that it takes away your traditional first date. So technically we're on what should be like date 3, date 4. Because what are we going to do on our date 1? Rehash everything we've already read?
Yeah.
It's weird. I love online dating because if you're busy, it's a great way to meet people, but at the same time, there's so much that's just like the organicness doesn't really seem to be there all the time.
Well, now it's like, it used to be like, oh, like maybe you see someone reading a book on the train and you talk to them and you're like, oh, but now like everyone's reading on their phones or like, and it's not, and now it's very too weird. Yeah. I don't know, I think it's really hard to meet somebody unless you're in a community of people like for me, like comedy, of course, like that's a really bad idea, right? but like if you're in an area where you're where you're hanging out at the same places or things like that. But I think it's really hard to have an organic Meetcute or whatever it's called.
Meetcute?
Yes.
Although I did have
did you have a let's hear your Meetcute story.
I have probably the best Meetcute story ever.
Oh, wow. You're really building this up.
And it happened just a couple months ago. So I went...
You didn't hire Hitch for this, did you?
No, I did. I should have. I didn't need him, though. It was so... had this happened in a movie, I would have said, that's sappy. That would never happen in real life. And it happened. Here's the story. This was about 2 months ago, went to Disney World to run their half marathon.
My friend has done that. She did the one where it was like 4 days in a row, where it was and then like the last 2 days are a half marathon and then a full marathon.
Yep.
Yeah, she did that.
So I went down that half marathon weekend and I was running the 10K with my buddy Brock, who also works at Disney. Mm-hmm. So we met up in the morning. We get to wherever it was, I think Hollywood Studios. Or maybe we started in Epcot. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Wait, you actually you go from park to park?
Like that? You run through the parks.
Wait, I didn't know they were that close. Is Epcot and Hollywood Studios that close?
They're pretty close.
Huh.
They're pretty close. And if you're running distance, it's nice. The one side note I'll say is I've done both Disney in Florida and California. The one in California I like better because when you're in Florida, you're on access roads in Central Florida. Mm-hmm. Oh, and now you're in a park. In California, it's we're in parks. Now we're in these neighborhoods, and now we're back in the parks.
That's fun.
But I go down. We run the 10K, and the idea was after the race, Brock and I were gonna just do the parks because he is an employee and he has free passes.
Nice.
Thought great. So he tells me in the morning. He said, "Hey, I just want you to know I have to work at noon." And he's a manager, I think Port Orleans, one of the hotels in Disney. And he said, I can't get out of it, so I'm really sorry. He's like, "Well, I'll give you a free pass. It's all yours all day. You can just do the park. Any park you want, you can hop around." I was like, "Okay, great. Well, I'm bummed you can't do it, but,
you gotta work.
You gotta work. I understand it." So he goes... We finish the race. I run back to my hotel. I shower. We meet back up. We do a little bit of the park together, and then he has to go to work. I'm kicking around the park. I do about 2 hours and just walking around Hollywood Studios. I go over to Magic Kingdom, and then I'd never been to the Animal Kingdom.
I've never been to that one either.
Yeah, and by the way, awesome park. Awesome park.
This is not sponsored by Animal Kingdom.
This is not sponsored by Disney or Animal Kingdom, but was the ride the Matterhorn? Is it Matterhorn or Everest? It's this it's fantastic roller coaster.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm in Animal Kingdom. This is 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm going to the bus to go to Epcot, and by the way, I have my race medal on because if you run the race in the park, everybody wears their medal, and then the Disney staff has to be like, "Hey, congratulations!"
Is it part of the rules?
It is.
It's don't point with one finger, but
point with two.
Point with two, and always congratulate medal winners.
Yes. So all the race people, you can tell who they are. They're all wearing their medals. Me being one of them, and I'm walking to the bus, and I hear behind me this girl goes, "Hey, are you running the half marathon tomorrow?" And I turn around, and there's this cute blonde girl with her race medal on. She's got her mini ears on, and she was in this group of people. So I thought they were all together, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm flying back to Chicago tomorrow. I was just running the 10K today." And I was like, "Are you running?" And she's like, "Yeah, I ran the 5K yesterday, 10K today, half tomorrow." And then
she's gonna run the full too.
And I don't know if there was a full for this one, but
okay.
she had done, because they were Star Wars themed, mm-hmm. She had done all those in California, all the ones in Florida, so they were called the Kessel Run. If you did them all,
oh my gosh,
you get a Kessel Run.
Because Millennium Falcon made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Yeah.
Is that something? I think
that sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
But then you get a fat Millennium Falcon medallion.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So so these people like walk away from her, and so we're like talking in the line at the bus, and I go, "Are you here alone?" And she goes, "Yeah. Are you?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Are you single?" And she goes, "Yeah, very single. Are you?" I said, "Yeah." And then and I go, "What are you doing right now?" And she goes, "I was gonna go back to my hotel." And I was like, "Or you could just go to Epcot and have dinner with me."
Oh, that's sweet.
So she goes, "Okay, that sounds fun." So we get on the bus, we start talking. By the time the bus from Animal Kingdom reaches Epcot, we are like clicking. We are just clicking. She's from Dallas. She works for Dr. Pepper, my favorite soda. She's really cool. She's really fun. Like, we have all these common interests, and she's like she's a triathlete. She's really cute. Huge Disney nerd, and we're just clicking along. So we get to Epcot, and we go. She's like, "I'm going to take you to my favorite place in Epcot." Great. We go there. We get dinner. We bring it out to like around
what part of the world are you in?
We got beer, pretzels, and I think like confections in Bavaria, but then we sat in Venice, and we ate and we talked, and then by the end of our meal, I lean in, I kiss her, and she was like, "I really like that. We can keep doing that." Nice. So we proceed to kiss in every country around Epcot. It is the most sappy romantic thing. And by the end of the day, the night is like falling over Epcot, over the Magic Globe. And we have like these beautiful romantic pictures that we took, and we're
you
kissing.
Look like you've been dating forever.
It was. And we were both so into it, and we rode the boat back from Epcot to
Magic Kingdom
or wherever it is, Hollywood Studios. Yeah. That's where my car was, and we're like, Lady and the Tramp on the boat, like going back, and
wow.
And we ended up. So she had to run the race in the morning. I had to catch a flight, and we were both like, well, I don't want this night to end, but it has to end. We both have to go, do stuff in the morning. So we feverishly make out in my car in the parking lot of her hotel, and we're like, we're gonna stay in touch, absolutely gonna stay in touch. And she goes, I fly back. She goes, runs the race. She goes back to Dallas, and we stay in touch for a while. And I even. Let me stop there and just say that day was the most sappy romantic day of my entire life. It was just beautiful and fun, and it was so corny because right before I met her, I thought to myself, man, this is really cool. I wish I had somebody to share this with.
Aww. And
it's like I put that out into the world.
And then it came back.
And then she came and was there. And it was really, really awesome.
That's sweet.
So we end up talking for a couple of weeks, and she was like, I really miss you. I would love to see you again. And I said, I'm going to fly to Dallas. So I booked a flight to Dallas.
You flew to Dallas?
No, I didn't fly to Dallas. Here's what happened.
No.
The Monday before, I'm set to go to Dallas on Friday. That Monday, and we're texting back and forth. We're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you. That Monday night, she started to freak out. And she was just like, are you just coming down here to hook up with me? Are you... and I was like, I wouldn't pay almost $500 for a flight just to come hook up. I'm like, I want to see you. I want to hang out. I go on a date. I'm like, we can just sit around and watch movies. I'm like, I just like you and I want to get to know you. And then I said, do you not want me to come down? Are you freaking out and you do not want me to come down? She goes, honestly, I don't want you to come down.
Aww.
And I said, okay, well, once I cancel this flight, that's it. Because I made the effort here and I'm not doing it back and forth like this.
Oh, man.
So that was it. It ended. I've recently seen on Facebook about 2 weeks after, she started posting all these pictures with this guy, and I'm like, oh, there was another guy. There was another guy that she didn't tell me about.
Yeah. Well, maybe she met him shortly after. Or
possible. And I don't hold it against her because I think she's a wonderful person. I think and I have said this, and I told this to her, and I said, I think I said that night before we parted, I said, if nothing else, this has been one of the best days of my life, and and certainly the most romantic day of my life. So that's my long Disney story, and I'm happy to have that story.
That's a great story, man. And it's the distance thing, like, because one of my most romantic moments of my life, it happened with somebody that doesn't live here. He there's a guy I knew in high school, right? So it's a guy I knew in high school that I actually had a crush on all throughout high school, but because one of my good friends had dated him in middle school, I didn't, go for him or whatever. Something moral like that doesn't matter, because I'm not really friends with her anymore. I mean, we're Facebook friends, but she's fine.
But that doesn't count.
Whatever. But anyways, and he and I were Facebook friends, but I hadn't seen him. So I went to Derby with a couple girlfriends, and this is at a point I was in a long relationship, and we were on a break, and or we had, I don't know if it was on a break or we had broken up. Anyways, I had been single for like a month or two, and I was there with a group of girlfriends who decided to go to the Kentucky Derby because I'm from Louisville, and we go into the park, and we see this guy that I hadn't seen in a while. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, here you are in the infield, like, drinking, what's up? And he's like, oh, hey, how are you? And I was like, it's good to see you. He's like, oh, we're all going out tonight at this, area bars. You should come out. I was like, okay, great. We'll come out. We'll meet you. And of course, Derby, you get crazy drunk. All this crazy stuff happens. And then, like, we eventually meet up with them. Like, later, we go back, take a nap, change, go back out, because that's what you do at Derby. And,
it's a long day.
It is a very long day. It's super fun, though. I went again this year, and that was awesome. But anyway, so we go to this bar called Molly Malone's on Bardstown Road, which it's super great. It's like 80 degrees outside, but it, like, at one point starts pouring rain, which I love hot summer rain. It's really great, right? And it's like 2 or 3 in the morning, and, like, we've been talking and drinking a little bit, and then we're gonna leave to go, we all, like, me and my girlfriends decided to, like, leave because we gotta get pizza because we gotta drive in the morning back to Chicago. And, like, he's leaving with his friends. He's like, hey, we're going to the bar across the street. I said, we gotta, sober up or whatever. And we're standing, like, in the middle of the street, and then, like, he kisses me, and it's fucking pouring rain. And this guy I'd wanted to kiss for, like, since I'd wanted to kiss him since, like, middle school. He kisses me in the fucking pouring rain for our first kiss. This guy I wanted to kiss for years.
That's awesome.
And then he pulled away for a second, and I said, I had such a crush on you in high school. And then he said, I had such a crush on you in high school. And then we kissed again. And, like, oh my God. I know. But it was just a perfect moment, and I'm someone, I don't really believe in long distance relationship. I had one in college that didn't really work out so well. Yeah. So, I kind of am someone who kind of keeps my distance more, so, like, when I've been in town or when he's been in Chicago, we've seen each other a little bit, but, I was in a relationship and then he was in a relationship, and then all these things kind of, like, flip-flop, and then, I don't know, I've seen him lately, but I think he's in I saw him, my brother got married in December, and I almost asked him to be my date, but I chickened out,
Aww.
But he ended up seeing me post a couple pictures, like, hey, are you in town? I said, yeah. He ended up meeting me at, like, the worst section to go out, and it's, like, the downtown cheesy, stupid section to go out. By the way, it was his birthday that night, and he still came out and met me, and, like, we hung out, and that was really cool, but it was, like, one of those things, like, I wish we lived in the same city. I think if we lived in the same city, it'd be different. But he's met somebody now that I think he's, like, super happy with. Yeah. And that's really good. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, man, like, if only we had lived in the same city at one point, like, I wonder what would have happened,
right.
And the long distance thing, it just sucks.
Distance is tough. It's really tough. Ugh.
But I still have that moment, that kiss in the rain. Like, how, you can't fake that. Like, that's just something that actually happened to me. Like, that's like out of a Nicholas Sparks novel or something.
And it's like end credits of the movie, like, we're kissing in the rain, that
actually happened. It was amazing. And it's like,
it's like kissing in Epcot, kissing in the rain. Those are moments worth living for. I mean, they really, and they come by so seldom. But I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'd love sappy stuff like that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, I don't know, like, it's like one of those things, like, you want to feel that way again. And it's like, you know, that there is still that, you know, I think right now I'm just being, like, super concentrated on what I want to do with my life. But it's like, I don't know, like, I still think about that. And, like, I wouldn't move back to where he lives, but if we ever ended up, like in New York, like, I lived in New York, or he, you know, and I don't know, it's like one of those crazy things. It's like, you wonder, you know, like, what if, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I don't think that there's just one person that works in that way, you know?
That's true. And that's the great thing about, and as I'm discovering kind of as I get older, just there's so many amazing people out there. And whether it's, you know, a sexual connection, or whether it's a spiritual, mental connection, whatever, it's so awesome when you link up with somebody and you just, you either have a short amount of time or you have an extended period of time where you just are totally into each other. And this can be friends, this can be lovers, this can be whoever, but yeah, I love that. I love that about life, that, you know, people come in and out of your lives, and they add to it.
So are you one of those people, circling back to OkCupid, what I did like some of those questions, like one of the questions on OkCupid, if I recall, was, are you someone who wants to have, like, one partner for the rest of your life or several meaningful relationships throughout your life?
That's a tough one. I could see it going both ways. No pun intended. Really, like, I honestly believe that there are... I hope that there would be somebody out there that I would, you know, want to be with for the rest of my life. But at the same time, you know, I'm of that mindset too, and I see this a lot in our society and our culture. Maybe there, you know, you're with someone for 5-10 years, and then you're either married or you're not, or you get divorced and you go another way, and then you meet somebody else, and you know, they come into your life for a certain amount of time, and or maybe you're married to someone and you both bring other people into the relationship. I don't know.
Yeah, but everyone can do their own thing.
Yeah,
you know,
it's interesting. It's
well, now people are really redefining all of that, and that's still like a stigma, but it's like, you know.
Yeah. What's the app now? Thrinder?
I don't know this
It's
one.
like Tinder, but for threesomes.
I think, what is it called? A throuple? If you're like a three-person couple, yeah. Like,
A throuple, I love it.
I mean, like, come on, like Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Like, I think that it can work. I mean, there are just certain people you can, I think there are certain types of people, I think you can feel that thing called compersion, which is the opposite of jealousy, you know? But for me, I don't think I could feel that for someone I was in love with. Right. Like, you know, like, I can maybe be cool with that if I didn't, like, if I loved you like I love my ex, then no, there's no way I think I could be a throuple.
Do you remember the show on HBO, Big Love?
I didn't really watch it, but...
I didn't watch too much of it, but it was all about this Mormon family, and he had Bill Paxton, he had 3 wives, and they all had individual families and such. But I remember watching one of those episodes, and he, like, throughout the episode, it was a different night in the episode, and he was, like, with one wife, with another wife, with another wife. I was like, that looks exhausting. That just, not only with that wife and that family, but, I was like, I don't know how he's doing it.
Well, the thing is, like, that was a little different. Like, I think with the idea of open relationships, like, for me, I'm not saying I'm opposed to open relationships. I would just rather someone be like, instead of just cheating and lying about it, being like, hey, you know, this is how I'm feeling. Like, would you want to try this? You know, and keeping it more of an open mind than just, like, cheating and lying about it. What I like about any people I've met that are in open relationships or have those, you know, special rules or whatever when they're out of town, or, you know, whatever rules that their couples have. Like, I respect that they are really honest with each other and they have specific guidelines. Because honestly, throughout time, it's just been a lot of people cheating and a lot of people lying about it. So, like, I would rather, I think what I appreciate about polyamory is that people are honest about it. I feel like more than not versus... You know, versus people that are just in relationships. Because polyamory has been happening for a long time. It's just most of the time the other person doesn't know about it. You know?
That's true. We have this show on WCIU, my network. It's called Cheaters. And,
oh, wait. Do you guys bust cheaters?
Well, like, we don't, like, it's just, you know, I don't know. I guess it's produced in LA or wherever, but, you know, we carry it as a show. But I gotta say, it's such a guilty pleasure. It's such... terrible and awesome television to watch cheaters and watch these people who they're like, I think my husband's cheating on me and I want you to find out. So they like stake out the husband's house and like, we followed Greg and this is Greg at 3:45 in the morning saying goodbye to a mystery woman. Who could it be? And then there's a big reveal at the end. And the one host, they've had like 5 hosts at this point. The one host, they were busting this guy for cheating. They were on his boat and they were like, we have this footage. We know you're cheating. Here, your girlfriend's right here. You need to explain this. And the guy pulls out a knife and he stabs the host. And
wait, what?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can watch it. I can't remember the guy's name, but I think it's...
Stabbed the host.
But the host is like, oh God, oh God.
Was he had to playing it up? Like,
no, he was like straight up bleeding from a stab wound.
Like, what would you do if someone stabbed you during an interview?
Get the hell out of there. We're hope to God somebody... Now, if you watch the newer seasons, they have security around all of them, big security guards.
Yeah.
But I guess back then they really didn't have any.
Well, it's like, I don't know how, like, because nowadays I guess there's like a bunch of apps you can use to try to, I don't know, like, I assume that there's stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thankfully I've never, well, I don't think technology was really around at that point when I was in my relationship, and I never really like suspected or anything like that. He was,
well,
he was a good guy, but ultimately not the right one.
Yeah, look up that Cheaters video. It's funny.
That's
it's
funny.
sad, but it's really funny.
Man.
Oh God.
It's just like getting caught, like.
Yeah.
Man.
You son of a...
Like, and the thing is, they've got that on camera, so, like, not like the guy can be like, nope, I didn't do that. I didn't stab him.
Right.
Like...
Well, they arrested him. So the police came, the EMTs came to treat the guy with the stab wound, and the whole time he's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't want to do this anymore. And then the police are arresting this guy. I'm like, oh, that poor guy, the poor host.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's crazy, man.
Yep.
Cheaters. What you gonna do, right?
What you gonna do when they come for you?
Man. That's crazy. Man. But, yeah, I don't know.
I'm in a good spot, though, I think.
Yeah, overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, with your Tindering, yeah?
Yeah, there's always Tinder, and I'm happy with... I'm one of those people that's very happy with myself, and I no sexual pun intended, but
very happy.
No, but I don't have to constantly be going out with people. I'm totally fine just having my life and being me and seeing friends when I want to see friends and being alone when I'm alone.
Yeah, like, for me, I think I've gotten these really great friendships, that I get, like, a lot of love from, and, like, fulfillment, and I've got really great family, even though they don't live here, but I get a lot of love from them, and I've got this love of comedy right now, and so I feel like all that's very fulfilling, and, like, if I found, like, the right person, I can make time for that, but it's just about doing that. It's about... Do I really, honestly, half the time it's like, I'd rather go to, 3 open mics a night than go on a date with an okay person, you know? And I hate to say it that way, but...
no, it's true.
And the thing is, sometimes someone, really clever, there's this one guy that once messaged me on Tinder, and he's like, oh, do you want to get stoned and cook steaks? And I was like, that's hilarious. So I screenshotted it, and I tweeted it, and I Facebooked it or whatever, and then, he messaged me back saying, I guess we had mutual friends in common, so he noticed. And then I ran into him. I did the show on Sunday night called The Shithole, which is a great local show. It's like a hidden private show at a different house. And they've run by some really awesome guys, Toby and Zach and everyone. Is fantastic. Anyway, so he was at that show, and he saw, because I did stand up for it. And afterwards, I always have an alarm. Yeah, but... Anyways, afterwards, he says, oh, want to get stoned and kick, because I didn't recognize him. But and so we were talking, he's like, oh, that was my opening line. I had to get a different one. And I was like, dude, I thought that was clever, specific to me. Aww. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, come on, And he's like, yeah, because, somebody screenshotted that you had your post and update that you did that. And I was like, damn it, I have to come up with a new line. He's like, I just messaged everybody that. And I was like, man, you took, the fun out of it. Can't you be more creative?
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then the way he was acting, I was like, okay, you're so not attractive anymore.
Yeah, I'm very much... I'm just like, hey, you seem cool. I'd love to talk to you. I don't try and like throw a line out because I got great, stupid, funny pickup lines, and none of them work. So I think honesty is always the best thing to just be like,
yeah.
Hi, who are you?
Yeah,
Hi,
some
Chris.
guys are way too honest though.
No, that's true. I probably fall into that category.
Well, no, I mean way too honest, like about lots of things, like trying to give you things that you think that they think are compliments. I'm like, okay, like as an opening line, just being like, oh, you know, nice rack or something like that. And it's like, you know, like you get so many of that stuff. Or like
chivalry's dead.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
There's no romance in the world.
Well, it makes it so easy for guys that are good, because if like you treat someone just decently,
right,
then you're like way above all the other assholes. And it's like, oh yeah, you don't hesitate to pick up a check. Oh wow, that's on a first date. That's great. You know, like that's somehow puts you like way above the guys that like, you know. And I would say that I guess that maybe that's old fashioned or whatever, but
some girls though, I've taken girls out and I've been like, I asked you out, I'm gonna pick up the check, and they get some girls get they're like, no.
Can I tell you why?
Well, yeah, please.
Because in the past, some guys think that they're entitled to get something because they pay for dinner, and some guys will put that on women. They'll be like, "Hey."
I mean, I can see that, but that's never.
I know that's not you, but and so some women feel like, oh no, if I let him pay for dinner, he's gonna expect sex and feel like I deserve to give that, you know. And that's bullshit. First of all, women should not feel that way at all. But it's because of assholes that have done that have put this kind of weird pressure, and it sucks that there's that pressure on there. But
yeah.
But
that's enlightening.
Yeah, so don't so that's the way I would see that, you know. So, but I don't know. But if a guy was
I remember this when we go on our Tinder date.
Yeah, just think of a better opening line than like
nice rack.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah. So we're winding down a little bit, and what I always like to ask people, because we talk about sleep a little bit, we talked about sleep a little bit, and dreams. What are your like dreams for the future? Not like dreams at night, but like
dreams for the future. Yeah. I don't know. I'm seeing where this TV thing goes, and you know whether that's for the foreseeable future. I'm here in town, and you know in Chicago, but I don't know. If something came along and needed me to move, I don't think I'd be opposed, but.
Where would you move?
I mean, if the job was right, I'd move to Wyoming. But
wow.
But I don't know. Obviously in our business and entertainment and show business, New York, LA are the clear choices for either bigger markets or more national things or film or television or whatever. But I don't know. I'm just I'm still like I've been doing this job for 5 years. I didn't have any TV experience, and I'm just trying to keep working and keep learning all I can and making connections and really like I'm so fortunate. I get to wake up and almost every day I get to have fun. And how many people can say that? And I get paid for it.
That's great.
So I'm just I'm doing what I'm doing, and still do comedy on the side, and I do little acting jobs here and there, which take me all over the place. I'm going to Montana at the end of the month for an acting job.
Oh, that's great.
Super excited about that. And yeah, so that's kind of my dream. I would, ideally someday would like to have maybe a kid and a wife and a dog and a nice house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay. I have a nice 1-bedroom in Andersonville. I don't mind it.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's a little Spartan, but there's like if you like card tables and rolling leather chairs,
Yeah.
It's not posh by any stretch.
Hey, you know what? It's yours though.
It's mine. It's clean. It's and it's a place I can watch Game of Thrones. So
exactly, to Game of Thrones, right? You're excited about this next one.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I feel like because there was like a kind of duller episode, like nobody died. Yeah. I don't think the last episode, which is not a spoiler, I don't think.
No.
They're saying that nobody died, because I think that's the first episode maybe that no one has ever died.
Right.
And so like you got to know that like a lot of death is probably coming. So we shall see if those predictions are right. Yeah. I was in the podcast with us like going to sleep. So Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Chris DeRose. You can catch Chris every morning at WCIU from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. for You and Me in the Morning. And follow him on Twitter at Chris DeRose WCIU. Reminder, this podcast is sponsored by Audible, so go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get your free audio book. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can also view the video on YouTube or follow me on Twitter @Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.
Sleeping with Sarah.